8 of the best players, including that one, 11-time bracelet winner, Phil Hellmuth. He's not having a good day, is he, Gary?
No, he's stuck about $40,000 in this cash game.
600 to call, fold.
But that's not too much to Phil. He's won over $11 million in tournament winnings.
Phil Ivey with a pretty rubbish hand there.
Okay, young man. Don't need to, you know, be
Fold.
passing figures back and forth.
Action around to Mattisau on the button.
Very quick call from David Benjamin, and also a call from Tom Douan. 10-8 of spades for David.
And I think, you know, after that big hand, that Dur won from Mattisau, I think he's anxious to play hands with him.
Well, that flop has brought something for David Benjamin, and a little bit more for Tom Douan.
Well, everybody's got a piece of this one.
4,700.
Not much of a piece of it for Mike Mattisau, though, just bottom pair.
But Dur is in the lead. He does have the ace of clubs. Now, can he represent clubs because he has that? Is that kind of the trump ace?
Well, in these kind of games, you're not really going to get that far from bluffing someone up with just the bare ace in any kind of a pot. Just because if anyone's got a flush, they're probably going to see it through to the end, especially against someone like Mike, who's only got 40,000 in chips. Well, he's re-raising the kid.
13-2. 13,200 is the total bet.
I mean, I don't think Tom Douan is going to go anywhere. We'll see. That gets rid of Benjamin.
Tell your accountant right there. Dad, I was losing 90,000 and she was saying, how much you lost total?
No love lost between these two players, huh?
25 behind, Mike?
No, they've clashed a fair bit. Tom Douan's just trying to see whether it's worth his while calling this. He's got to think he's behind from a move here. There's only kind of a couple of draws that maybe he can beat.
You want to gamble against this guy, you have to be really
Well, I don't know, with 2 clubs out there and a raise in the button. Obviously, he has to know if he calls this one, the other 25,000 that's in front of Mattisau is going to go in on the turn.
79.7 total bet.
Well, Tom's decided to re-raise him. I think Mike's got to realise he's behind, but he's only got 25,000 left. It still doesn't go in the middle. He passes. And Tom takes that pot down. He looks sick there, does Mike.
Count me out of it. You never show. You said...
Mike the Mouth has lost 3/4 of his starting $100,000 stack. And if we rewind this 2 years to the first season, he's now down $275,000. Buttons in front of David Benjamin. Small blind, Tom Douan. Big blind is Phil Hellmuth. And the action over to Chris Ferguson. Jesus, not going to play there. Patrick Antonius. What a lineup we have here.
2,200 total bet to call.
2,200 from Patrick with the Queen Jack. A couple of sixes for Ali. He's going to be happy to see the flop. And Mattisau, who is short chipped at this table, is going to move all in. And that might be too much for him to get a caller.
I never played 5 diamond, now you just asked me for 10.
Pardon?
24,900.
And it's 24,900. The re-raise all in.
Wow, and Tom Douan's got a bit of a hand, ace-queen.
Do you really want to call off your chips with ace-queen?
Well, it's such an all-in play here from Mattisau. He's going to probably give him some sort of a protecting of a pocket pair. And if it's under queens,
For 5 minutes,
there's a fair bit of dead money in there for this call, maybe. And don't forget, he's stuck himself, so...
well, he's going to gamble. He puts in the 25,000. And it pretty much is going to be a race. Ace-queen against pocket nines. Mattisau slightly ahead.
That's all.
Pretty easy laydown, though, for Ellie, isn't it?
Cool.
You'd think so, but this is Eli Elezra. Laydown's not really in his vocabulary.
Your change and your change.
So no side pot right now, but there is a chance there will be.
Yep.
And the pot is $78,000. Mattisau all in with the nines.
I'll take red here for him.
And it doesn't look good for Mattisau, looking great for Tom Douan. And his roller coaster day continues.
Well, in a situation like this, you know if Tom bets, he's probably actually got a genuine hand.
I was going to ask you about that. He's betting into a dry side pot. What does that mean? And
it basically means he's trying to protect some sort of a hand. He's not likely to be doing it with a dry side pot. But that makes Elia Lesra's call very, very strange. Unless he thinks he can spike a 6. That's the jack of clubs.
Well, that might be a scary card for Tom Dwan. I mean, of course, that 3 clubs out there completes the flush.
Yeah, but there's not that many hands that you can imagine Elia Lesra wanting to call pre-flop. 2
Oh, and
suited
look
clubs.
at that. Mattisau makes running clubs, and he's going to take this one down.
You can tell he's just looking back to see if he's got a club in his pair.
Give me that, like, 80,000 in the middle, please.
Oh, and that's a sick runner
I did
clubs.
have the best hand.
One after of aces.
I did have the best hand pre-flop. Homie just zipped right on over for the gun for a little 25 ball with ace queen. I just thought it was.
Well, this is a player that won $200,000 in about 12 minutes at one point, playing on the internet.
Fold.
I did not say I have 8. So.
I mean, he never showed it.
Fold.
Could have had better.
Call.
Could have had that.
And it's amazing when you look at him and you think he's only 22. And he's playing a 5-3 suited here.
Against Patrick Antonius.
Well, he's playing his button. He loves that button.
In fact, both players love their button.
2 of you, yeah.
Well, most good players do, don't they?
It really is a power position.
Well, it's an interesting flop. Both players get a little piece of it. Antonius, a much better piece, though.
Yeah, he's definitely in front right now. A little under a 3-1 favourite.
If you're Dwan, do you take one off here?
4,500
Seeing if you can
is
catch
best
2
to
pair
call.
or some sort of draw.
Well, he also doesn't know, of course, that Patrick's actually caught any of this.
So what's the play if you're Tom Dwan?
The sort of player that Tom Dwan is, he's also the sort of player that's going to put pressure on with the re-race, kind of to find out where he is. Very, very fast player, but he's decided to play his position. He's called. Here we go. We're going to see a turn card.
Oh, that's a magical card there, the 5 there. Obviously looking for a 5 or a 3 or some sort of draw. That's going to give him trips. And can Patrick Antonius put him on a 5?
Well, he knows that Tom can pretty well play any 2 cards.
Especially
Just
on
have
his
to see
button.
how this one plays out.
There's no way you're having it.
He's such a dangerous player.
Well, we see that earlier. We saw him move all in with just a 7 high. Anybody that's capable of doing that is very dangerous.
Betting 10,000. 10,000 to call.
And Patrick Antonius is going to bet 2/3 of the pot, 10,000 into a $15,000 pot. Action over to Dwan. And there's not much that Patrick Antonius can beat if Dwan actually had a real hand here.
I think you have things, but you might have also flopped 6.
Called.
Well, Tom's slow playing this one. Doesn't want to lose his customer.
15 change.
Also a slight chance he's a bit gun shy. He caught what he thought was a monster earlier on against David Benjamin. Wow, now he's got 5 full of 3s.
But once again, what can Patrick Antonius beat here with the king with a pair of kings with only a jack kicker?
On the river. You bet 90-something on the river and he moved you.
I think we might still try and see a value bet from Patrick.
I promise you, I'll be honest. I might try.
Although with Tom behind him, he might do a kind of a check call, hoping to catch a bluff.
2 kings? I told you.
Figuring if Dwan missed diamonds,
He might have a stab because he's got, you know, an awful lot of history to trying to take these pots away. But I've seen Patrick make an awful lot of value bets on the river with very marginal hands.
well, this would be a very thin value bet. And of course, when Dwan raised, might Antonius think that he's raising with missed diamonds?
You're running good, Phil. I hit the 8. I was going to check raise him on the river. You did check raise him on the river. But I hit the 8, but I was
Of course, Gus Hansen, the Great Dane, watching the game intently. We saw him earlier. He finished up about $34,000. But Patrick Antonius is a big decision right now.
Came 3-4 jack.
Looks like he's put in a little value bet.
He has.
Yeah. Buddy, we don't play in the same level.
David was losing before.
27,000.
Well, that's a big bet there. 27,000 into a $35,000 pot.
I think we're going to see a raise from Duan. He can't be scared of 5 king or kings full.
You know, the way Duan's day is going, I figure he figures, you know what, if I run into pocket kings here, so be it. He's definitely going to raise this one.
That's what he said.
Buddy, that's all I'm doing. Just another day grinding.
Duan started this hand with just under $140,000.
You won 34 nines.
Deuces.
His pot is going to be at least 90,000. And he's all in. And we saw him move all in earlier with just a 7 high.
Bet is all in.
He did have a bit of a draw, though, when he did the 7 high,
Good
just
point.
in case.
Well, the pot now is $184,000 back to Patrick Antonius. And could Duan be doing this with a misdraw?
Well, that's what's going to be going through Patrick's head.
You think about that flop. What draw could he have missed?
Huh? Yeah, because ours would have been bluffed.
Obviously 2 diamonds on that flop.
I mean, it's hard to call. How much more? It's like, unless you have a deuce and you really have like an ace deuce. And even, I mean, well, probably what I'm a favorite to have.
And of course, Durr is such an aggressive player.
7, 8.
Helps him get paid off sometimes.
Even if you have an ace deuce, I mean, how often are you going to have the best hand?
But will Patrick pay him off here?
No?
That's 90.
I mean, once in a while. I mean,
95 cents.
Phil Hellmuth,
95
world
cents.
champion, looking on. Always studying his opponents.
$90, yeah.
And it's about 90,000, 95,000 back to Antonius.
95.6.
And what is Patrick thinking here, Gary?
Well, he's just trying to decide whether he thinks that Tom could be making a bluff here. There isn't really, like you say, any genuine hands he can beat.
Oh, that's a sick beat there. You had kings there. I thought he had
I mean, a raise like that on the river, it's pretty much an absolute monster or nothing at all, right?
Exactly.
You raised pre-flop, I didn't.
I'll be hamming up tonight.
You raised pre-flop, I didn't re-raise them. Out of the small blind.
Oh, you could have 6s full.
And these guys have logged hours and hours against each other online.
I could have 3-6.
What a treat we have watching them live on television.
You want to have a couple kings. How could you not pass there?
I could have queen 6. Right?
So I'm just trying to say, with the board queen 6.
Of course, Patrick made a big payoff to Phil Ivey in season 2.
Yes, we all remember that. Pot that exceeded $800,000, and at the time was the biggest ever televised hand. Can you get a read off that face?
14.
I can't,
44.
but I'm used to seeing his avatar rather than his face.
So what does he do?
And we've seen some thin calls today. This wouldn't be as thin. Patrick hasn't played too many hands trying to work this one out.
Do you agree with what I'm saying? What do you do in his spot? You gotta take the lead of the pot. You cannot bring the bluff, right? In the hand. He's gonna check.
Eyes wide open. Tom Duan begging for a call at this point.
It doesn't have to do that. You can call, and you can win or raise the turn.
David, can you order watermelon? We have 2 more hours of it.
They're gonna come with some fruit from you.
Don't forget, not only is Tom Duan stuck over $300,000, Patrick Antonius is stuck about $100,000 as well.
An absolutely enormous pot, $184,000 pot, $95,000 to call.
It's all about balance.
Patrick Antonius has won millions in cash games, millions in tournaments. And he's made a living making tough decisions like this.
These 2 months good enough. You don't want to say one raise call easily.
get the food for David. Whoever can get the food for David, see if they can get watermelon for me, or any kind of food. Any kind of food, whatever they got.
Talking about a lot of money here. And if you're ever wondering if this money meant anything to these players, you can look at Patrick's face.
You can almost feel the pain on his face. He's really not comfortable.
He's got 2 pair, kings and 5s with a jack kicker. But as you've said already, he can only beat a bluff here.
All credit to Tom Dwan. He's played this beautiful. The flat call on the turn, the all-in on the river. Such a big overbat.
He's really playing it as if he missed
I call.
some sort of draw.
Call.
Full house.
He says call. And Patrick not happy. 5's full of 3s, going to be the winner. And that pot, nearly $300,000.
Button in front of Phil Hellmuth. Small blind Phil Ivey. Action on Patrick Antonius. Now he's down $240,000. We remember in season number 2 of the $1 Million Cash Game, he lost a huge pot to Phil Ivey.
Yeah, he did. He lost an $800,000 pot to Phil Ivey by calling him off on the end when he pretty well must have put Phil on a bluff. And this is a very similar situation. Not quite for as much money.
Call, 2,200 called, fold. Fold.
Phil Hellmuth calling on his button with Queen 9 of spades.
Called.
And Chris Ferguson's going to be in there.
Protecting his big blind with A6 of spades. Well, the original raiser,
Check.
David Benjamin, 2 clubs.
Yeah, you imagine if Benjamin follows through with an aggressive bet here, he'll probably take it down.
Betting 5,000, 5,000 to call. Call.
But Hellmuth's going to take one off. He's got a gut shot, straight draw, as well as backdoor spades.
Fold.
And now that Chris Ferguson's passed, he's actually got the best hand. That 4 changes nothing.
Check.
Phil Hellmuth's hand getting stronger, although he doesn't realise it.
He's going to bet this, though. Obviously, he doesn't know he's ahead.
Bet. 9,000.
But he's going to try to represent something.
Betting 9,000.
Well, he's betting about half the pot. I'm pretty sure that David Benjamin's going to call this in a flash.
And this could be interesting. Queen high could win this hand. Queen 9, that is.
David just having a look to see how much more Phil Hellmuth's got behind. Phil didn't start this hand with that many in chips, about $58,000 worth.
Call.
Well, Benjamin is so creative. I think he's always looking for a way
Call. Yeah.
to win a pot. Kind of thinking out of the box.
Well, he just calls this one. Throws in the $25,000 chip, saying call.
Pot is now $35,700.
16
Benjamin
change.
needs a 3 or a club.
Or to make a strong bet. That jack, an absolute beauty for David Benjamin.
Of course,
I think
Hellmuth,
this could be the end of Phil Hellmuth. He's just made a straight, but just at the wrong time.
Hellmuth hits his gut shot. Unfortunately for him, it makes Benjamin a better flush. Phil Hellmuth started this hand with
Betting
$58,000.
50,000 to call.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a call from Phil. There's not a lot he can do about it.
All in.
And Benjamin is going to win this pot. And Phil Hellmuth is going to go broke.
He catches the absolute card he really wanted to catch in this pot.
Do you want me to count
The jack.
Make sure there's no more than 50.
You've got it anyway, yeah.
There's no more than 50, you're right.
Give me 100. Give me 100. Nice hand, David. Well played, buddy. 100.
I sense a little bit of sarcasm.
He's going to stack off the last 40 for 100% if he misses. I had nothing, no pair. Nothing, Mike.
$500,000 in front of David Benjamin.
And he's approaching 700,000 now. But he is not our big winner. Our big winner
Fold,
is Chris
fold.
Jesus Ferguson.
It's 25,000 change.
And one
Thank
thing about
you.
losing money to Chris Jesus Ferguson, you know he's not going to give it back.
Yeah, you're going to have to get that out of him with a crowbar.
Well, Benjamin, again with another big hand here. He's got big slick. Although he seems to do most of his damage
Okay, fold, fold.
with kind of the
Betting
odd out-of-the-box
2,200
hands, doesn't
to
he?
bet.
Yeah, the kind of
Fold
marginals.
and fold. Total bet 2,200.
Phil Ivey on the button.
Fold.
Passes. As does Chris Ferguson out of the small blind. Just Patrick Antonius left.
Call.
And Patrick is going to call this. And twice we've seen Benjamin
2,200 called.
have his opponents hit the worst card for them and the best card for him.
Exactly.
Really the story of the night.
Wow, what a nice flop there for Patrick Antonius. Well, almost a nice flop. Gives him the draw. He's now 50-50
Betting
shot over the ace-king.
3,200.
I actually thought he flopped a straight there. Thought he had 9-6.
Call.
Still, obviously, Benjamin has missed, though. Some aggressive play from Antonius should take this one down.
Well, it's gone bet from David, call from Patrick, and that king on the turn means the betting's going to continue.
And Benjamin's not going to go anywhere now. See that he's a 4-1 favorite. Antonius is going to need a jack or a 6.
9,000 bet.
Oh, he's going to have to somehow figure out a way to get David Benjamin to fold his ace-king.
Fold.
Well, he's laid it down. Didn't like his pot odds. Good pass there from Patrick.
He also realized that if he hit his straight, it would have been a one-liner. Might not have gotten paid off.
Exactly, would have looked very, very obvious.
Take a look at Benjamin's chips there. Wow. Those reds. And he is up to nearly 700,000.
600 to call. Call.
We're at the FullTiltPoker.net $1 million cash game. Patrick Antonius has bought in for another $200,000.
1 minute per day. You know what? That's a good idea.
And there it is, those black chips, $25,000 each. You'd think for $200,000 you'd get more than 8 chips.
6,600.
Yeah, seems like you've been cheated a little bit.
Fold.
Flat call from David Benjamin. Also a call from Ton Durdouin. Better raise it up from the steamer, Phil Hellmuth.
Well, you know Tom Dwan is going to play that hand, 5-3 of spades. Probably his favorite hand right now.
And the raise up from Phil Hellmuth, Jack 5 offsuit.
Well, Hellmuth has a little bit of a reputation for steaming in cash games.
Certainly looks like it from the evidence right now, but this is quite a big bet.
I like that 5-minute clock. Where it's like a
6,000 raise. I don't know whether Tom's going to call even with his hand at the moment.
That'd be pretty cool. And everybody, when they buy in the tournament, they get their little 50-cent 5-minute time bank. And as soon as that 1 minute's up,
Got about $2.5 million on the table now.
And it counts down.
course, Helmut reloaded with 100,000. Antonius reloaded with 200,000.
Well, Der calling with his 5-3. Actually dominated by the Jack 5. I bet you wouldn't have thought that.
Tables where you only get an hour and 15-minute levels, they're taking 10 minutes a hand. I mean, they're destroying the.
Well, he's got in front with the 3.
Yeah, he's outflopped him.
I've had a 5-minute decision maybe twice in my whole life. John Pham has one 20 times.
And actually, Helmut is in bad shape right now, although he's got position.
11,000.
And he might be able to take this one away. We'll see how Dwan plays it, though. And it's like an entirely different Helmut, isn't it?
Yeah, he's totally opened up. Tom calls.
And how many bullets can Helmut shoot?
Yeah, that's going to be the question right now. The 3 doesn't look too strong. If he keeps firing, and that ace is going to be a bit of a scare card for Tom. The only thing it does give him is it gives him a straight out.
Of course, Helmut has the same straight draw. But for Helmut to win this pot, needs a jack. And is Helmut going to continue firing at this pot? Something we haven't seen earlier is continued aggression from Phil Helmuth. And he bets 26,000 into a $37,000 pot. I don't see how Tom Dwan can continue.
Well, he's probably sitting there thinking he's got 9 cards. If he thinks 5s and 3s are good, he thinks his 4's probably good. He's pretty sure his 3's probably good. If he's up against aces and queens, that of them.
I remember Tom Dwan is down nearly $200,000 as well. Might he be reaching here? How many bullets can Phil Helmuth fire?
Well, he needs to fire one more.
I mean, look at that flop, Queen 3 deuce. Not many draws out there.
At least not many draws that didn't get hit by the ace. What hand does he think he can get Tom Dwan to lay down?
At this point, I mean, you have to put Tom on at least a queen, and you figure there's no way he's going to lay it down. The pot is nearly $90,000.
Looks like he just does not want to leave those chips behind.
Well, he's put his children in the pot and doesn't want to abandon them. And he's got about, I'm trying to work it out, it looks like he's got about 40,000 there. Is 40,000 enough?
I think he's got a bit more than that. I think he's actually got more like 60 or 70,000. There's 2 black chips.
Oh, indeed, you're right, it is 2 black chips. So he's got about 65,000. Is that enough to get it done?
Well, we know that he's up against a 3. It may well be enough to get it done.
I'm all in.
And look at this. What courage.
He shoves it all across the line.
Oh,
and
come on,
Tom
Phil,
Dwan,
show it. Come on, Phil, show the cards. And he does.
He shows the bluff.
I made a flush. Wow.
He's absolutely desperate to show that one.
Famous group Jackson 5.
Ellie, if I move on, you call?
Chris Ferguson, our big winner so far, up over, well, nearly $200,000, I want to say.
600 to call.
Yeah, he's up $200,000, and I don't think he's said a word to anyone since he sat down.
Fold.
If you put another 90, I can call.
Of course, it's hard to get a word in edgeways with Mike the Mouth Madasau, Phil the Brat Helmuth,
If Phil move all in, I call.
and some of the other characters around this table.
Fold, fold.
You went under, buddy. After you won.
Well,
you
David
beat me
Benjamin
out
with a
of
genuine hand here.
150,000.
Well, David Benjamin knows how to play the trash.
You
Can you
just
play a
decided
real
to be
hand?
a winner now.
Well, I don't think he's going to throw it away.
Oh, Jack on the river.
What's the kind of insight we get from Gary Jones here?
Looks like a raise.
Raise. 3,900 is a total bet.
And the interesting thing about this raise is he picks up queens on the button. He raises on the button. might his opponents not respect that?
That is quite possible. And Phil's got a genuine hand.
It's like a whole new person. It's amazing, like
If he doesn't respect it,
Wow!
how they act,
Four in a row.
they're winning, how they
Cool.
chirp.
Four in a row.
Yep, 3,900. Cool.
You gotta be happy every day like me. That's why when you know you got
When Helmuth calls, Ivy calls, action over to Antonius.
It's on you.
And I think Antonius is priced into this one.
yeah, any kind of a hand and he's going to play this.
Cool.
I learned that. I used to put myself through hell.
And Antonius has got the spades. And we'll see this four ways. Pot just about $17,000. Actually is $17,000. Oh, and look at that. How about a set of eights
Check.
for Phil Helmuth?
Check.
He's probably a little bit unlucky
Check.
that there's a king on the board.
Yeah, had that flop come out 10-8 deuce, probably would have got a lot more action.
It's been check round.
When you raise
the
the
raiser.
queens and you get three callers and you see a king out there, you can't be too happy, can you?
Well, you can have a bet
11,000.
and see what actually happens.
11,000 is the bet to call.
I'm going to raise it up, 40,000 to go.
40,000 total bet.
A re-raise from Phil Helmuth. He's just showed a bluff. He's hoping that his opponents are going to put him on trying to steamroll the table.
It was $11,000 bet from Benjamin.
Fold.
A raise up to 40,000 for
Total
Helmuth.
40,000.
So it's 29.
Big later.
Back to Benjamin.
David Benjamin's passed as well.
Fold.
Yeah, he's already folded.
You folded? Winning on another one, buddy.
And Helmuth continues to steamroll this table.
Ivy, I second. Ivy, I second staying through.
I third it.
And Helmuth was down over $100,000 just a little while ago. But some creative play, and he is now only down 25,000.
Are you telling me they said it an hour ago?
You stuck, Phil?
600 to call.
I would have slow played the hand when it came king 10.
Action on Patrick Antonius. He's not going to play.
Everybody was showing dead.
Ellie
Raise,
Lesra.
2,600
He likes
total
his
bet.
suited ace.
He could hit a jack, he could hit
Fold.
a king.
I had two queens. I was not doing that.
Fold.
You're right, you had 2 outs.
26, Tom.
I would have smoked
2,600 total bet. 600 more to you. Thank you.
An awfully big raise from Ellie.
Yeah, it's over 4
I
times.
was going to say $2,600 bet into a 600 big blind.
But you know what? He said
Contrast that to David Benjamin's raising. He often raises at about 1,600.
Exactly. I know David seems to raise it more my style, as Ellie seems to want to power them through a little bit more.
Both players have a piece of this one. Ellie with second pair, top kicker.
5,200.
Tom Dwan with top pair, king kicker.
You must have been playing bad lately. You changed your mind.
5,200 total bet to call.
Now, remember earlier, Tom actually bluffed Ellie. Can that work in his favor here?
Cool.
Well, there's been plenty of previous between these two. And there's going to be a little bit more. This pot starts to get big. 5 on the turn for Ellie Lesra.
Well, he checks it. Action over to Tom Dwan. And Ellie looking for the check raise here, possibly.
Buddy, I'm going to take you out of my word if you can't take me sweetness. I can take the
Check.
sweets for me. It's not watching you play, I can't.
And it goes check, check. A little pot controlling check there on the turn from Tom Dwan.
25,000.
And does he know something?
Well, I think he's hoping to catch a weaker hand on the river. That's a bit of an oversized bet there from Ellie, 25,000.
And I think Dwan was going to call. I think he was on automatic call if it was a normal size bet. But the over bet has kind of forced him to raise his eyebrows a bit.
I still think we'll see a call.
Just to play devil's advocate, I think he's going to lay this one down. I think the internet phenom is going to lay this one down. He's going to sniff it out as the over bet doesn't make any sense. And he's looking to the skies for help. I always look up there. There's nothing, nobody ever answers.
Well, there you go. You got Opie on your side. This guy
5-5-3 on the board was very good to him not long ago.
Of course. I mean, I'm almost positive Dwan calls it if it's a $13,000 or $14,000 bet. The $25,000 bet into a $17,000 pot just makes him scratch his head a little bit.
I think you're right. The longer this goes on, I actually think he might fold this now.
Come over my side of thinking here. And although Durr is only 22 years old, he's accomplished an awful lot, and he's got thousands upon thousands of hands of experiences.
Is there a Chinese game or are we playing online?
That black chip he's playing with in his hand, as is Ali. They're all worth $25,000. And that's what the bet is right now. He throws it in. It's a good lay down there from Tom Dwan. And you read it right, David.
It's a great lay down. And I think Ellie cost himself about 13 or 14,000 with the overbet.
You're very right.